Welcome to Star Medicine Podcast, your weekly source for easy-to-apply astrology, energy, and divinatory practice to deepen and expand your being experience. Hosted by intuitive astrologer and Reiki 3 practitioner Jenifer Edwards.
Hello, beautiful souls. Happy Equinox. Today's Tuesday, September 22nd. I'm broadcasting live from a cave in Brunswick, Maine. I hope you all are finding something to do with this beautiful energy that's around us. Tonight on the show, we're going to talk about the equinox and Libra season, as well as Saturn direct and Mercury entering Scorpio, which is a pretty big deal. Let's get talking about the equinox since we're all in this equinox energy. The meaning of the equinox is the balance of light and dark. So equa meaning equal and nox meaning night. So this is equal day to night today. So it'll get gradually darker from today moving forward until we get to the solstice, where we will have the winter solstice here in the northern hemisphere will be the darkest day, will be the least amount of light, and so continues the cycle. But when we talk about equinox energy, we're talking about balance, which kind of coincides with the sun moving into Libra, or as I like to call it, Libra season, because Libra is all about balance, and that's what the equinox is about. It's about yin and yang. It's about Shiva and Shakti, the masculine, the feminine, the light and the dark, and finding the narrow path in between. When we talk about religions, Tantra comes to mind because Tantra is very much about walking that path in between, in Buddhism, in between the light and the dark on that narrow ridge. The equinox energy that we have at our disposal twice a year is very potent energy because we are able to channel in the universe very easily. I personally, in my past, have gone on great adventures around the equinox. Last year and the year before, found myself in Glastonbury, UK, on this amazing journey that I manifested. I left right before and didn't know I was going, kind of knew I was going, wasn't sure when I was pulling the trigger. And sure enough, found myself there. I am missing that place right now during this very strange time, but my heart is definitely there. But when we work with energy during the equinox, we are able to ground ourselves as well as open ourselves to the divine. So that is where the balance is when we talk about the difference between light and dark. We can talk about heaven and earth. So we're able to ground ourselves and receive at the same time. Doing Kundalini around the equinox is one of the best practices you can do if you're looking for a spiritual practice to kind of tap into tonight, because it raises your vibration to a level of receiving. When you are doing practice in succession in a series, you're able to shed feelings and emotions that no longer serve you. And I know that that's one of the buzz phrases that is being used a lot everywhere, something that no longer serves you. But it's like peeling an onion. So if you're in your 50s and you're just opening up to spirituality and you're really taking a deep look at everything that you've been through in all those years, it compounds. It's not going to change overnight. And so finding a spiritual practice that will help you peel those layers in a way that's easy to digest, but also happen fairly quickly, Kundalini is the way to go. Kundalini is through mantra, mudra, and prana. So it amplifies your intention. It shuts off the conscious thought so you can just be here in the present. with the equinox energy and utilizing Kundalini, we're able to be in the energy of the universe, which is where the secret of all manifestation happens. If you're looking for a ritual to do this evening, I suggest writing down what you would like to accomplish in the next 6 months, what you'd like to in the next 6 months, and focus in on that before you do a meditative practice. You can do breath work. I'm part of a collaborative, which is optimisticwellness.com, and we have wonderful breath work at your disposal. It is a means to get outside of your conscious thought so you can match the vibration of what you'd like to call in. Making a list of what you would like to call in over the next 6 months, being able to meditate on that and get to a place where you aren't having conscious thought, and setting it on fire as a gift to the universe after you read it out loud. It is important when you write intentions that you utilize your throat chakra, because you are telling the universe what it is you want. And sometimes we aren't clear with what we want, which impedes our manifestation process. Know that if it's in your highest and best, it belongs to you. And we are at the right place at the right time. So putting your intentions out there is very magical. And on this evening of the equinox, you will also find it seasoned with a little bit more stardust. So I hope you all decide to do that tonight, do something special to mark this occasion of balance, and find where you need balance in your life, where Libra season's starting to come in. When we talk about Libra season, the sun is at 0 degrees Libra currently. It just rolled in today, hence the equinox. And Libra is all about justice and sociability. Libra is a cardinal sign, and it is ruled by Venus. So it is a very Venusian sign, loves beauty, aesthetics, and loves to be seen, to be heard. It absolutely loves to be with other people, and it's a very communicative sign. You'll find during Libra season that people are drawing their attention to their appearance a little bit more, what they're wearing. Back to school, even though we go school shopping before Libra season, it's pretty much a fashion show. And I'm not demoting Libra into that kind of pattern, but what I'm trying to say is that we kind of are looking at our outsides, and if our insides are reflective of our outsides. Libras are also, because it's a cardinal sign, they're about action. So this is a wonderful time to join a cause, to speak up for people who cannot speak for themselves. Libra is very much about justice, and voting season is coming. If you feel called to vote, you should do that. That's also a part of this season. When we have here in the northern hemisphere, it is the fall, and so oftentimes when I think of Libra, I think of apple picking and the Luke Skywalker boots, or the Han Solo boots, I should say, and the sweaters. But in the southern hemisphere, it is spring and the beginning of the holiday. Ostera. So here we were celebrating Mabon. So happy Mabon to everyone. And I hope that whatever altar you put up will showcase what you want to bring in for the next 6 months. And through each sign, we can expect Aries during this Libra energy. You're going to see more emphasis on your relationships, business, personal relationships. You will be feeling the justice in your relationship, weighing out the pros and cons. Perhaps you're getting ready to make a big relationship decision, Aries. For Taurus, this will be lighting up your 6th house of health, well-being, and service to others. So this is really about balance in how much energy you're giving away to other people versus how much energy you're spending on yourself. It's very important for you to take very good care of yourself during this season. Make sure you have a balanced diet, and that you're eating the foods that your body is craving. Also getting equal parts exercise. Notice how this is all about balance. If you're burning yourself out at work and don't have any time for yourself, you really need to take a close look at that. Gemini, the sun in Libra in your fifth house will be illuminating your creativity. And so finding balance with your creativity, your children, whether you want to create new life and bring it into the world, and new love. Whenever we talk about balance in these areas, we're really looking at, are we giving this area enough time, thought, and attention, and versus sticking with being all-sided, because we want to make sure that we are giving ourselves the opportunity to grow in these areas. And so if we are focusing all of our energy on one area, we're unable to allow the garden to really take over. Cancer, this sun lands in your fourth house. So this will be the essence for the next month until October 22nd. You will be feeling the energy in your home, so around your mother and your family, and perhaps nesting and decorating for the fall. You could possibly be moving. I know that during this time of year is typically the time that I move. Thank goodness I'm not doing that now. But if you haven't talked to your mom, if she's still with us, make sure that you give her a call, see how she's doing, keeping in touch with family, and also doing things as a family. Getting out into the world and exploring nature and the earth is a wonderful thing to do this time of year. Leo, you're going to be experiencing the sun moving through your third house of communication. You'll notice that you are going to be looking for balance in your communication. So what does that mean? Are you spending all your time on the internet? Are you spending all your time texting on your device? And maybe you need to be doing some more internal work. When we talk about communication, we're also talking about books and literature and higher education, so to speak. Short distance travel. So if you find yourself being attached to your computer, break free and show some balance and go on a short distance trip. Go check out something new in your town that you've never seen before, and that'll bring balance into your life. Virgo, we have this beautiful sun over at your second house of self-awareness, earned income, and self. I'm vacant of the words. Sorry. Your second house of earned income and self-esteem. So where are we spending too much time? Are you focused too much on how much money you make, and that is a direct reflection of your self-worth? Are you focused on, are you using the money that you make as a means to attract attention? When really, are you angry about are you not happy about being compensated for the energy that you're putting out? This is a great time to really reflect on what you want to be doing, what negates or what should have your attention, and what you feel like giving your attention to receive prosperity. So looking at whether or not what you're doing is worth the energy output is a place of contemplation here. Also being motivated to do something that you love, to move forward with a creative project, to move forward with something that speaks to your soul, with the idea that monetary gain will come down the pike. This is a wonderful time to start projects, especially in the area of prosperity. Libra, this is your time. We are celebrating the birth of all the Libras out there. This is Libra season. And, of course, the sun will be illuminating your first house. This is your time to shine. So with the beautiful Libra sun going through your first house, get out, be seen, look to see where the balance is. Are you spending too much time with yourself and not with your friends? What's your role in your relationships? Where's the balance in that? You really want to take a peek at how you are presenting yourself to the world. And the balance there is your authentic self coming out? Or are you just projecting who you suppose the people around you want you to be? It's a very deep thing to think about. Scorpio, 12th house. This is one of my favorite places to have the sun is in the 12th house because it's a place of introspection. It's a place of deep healing. It's a place of rejuvenating rest. And so you're going to find yourself kind of feel withdrawing from the world around you, and that is okay. But where you want to seek balance is what are you doing for your mental health? Are you just going and staring at a wall, which, by the way, is totally okay because this world is kind of crazy right now. But you want to make sure that you're adding self-care to your routine. You really want to make sure you're doing something for yourself. And if that even means being quiet and staring at the ceiling, that's totally fine. But we need to find balance in doing something to help you deeply relax rather than just burning out and keeling over. Sagittarius, we have the sun rolling through your 11th house of friendships, social contacts, and hopes and wishes. So we're really looking for balance in where you're energy and who you're energy with. And also when we talk about manifestation in this house, when we have the sun going through there in Libra, talking about balance, we really have to look at needs and wants. What is it that you want and what is it that you need? When we are grateful for everything that we have, we want for nothing. And so that kind of creates the energy of not coming from a place of lack. So if we're able to just be grateful for what we have, decide that we have what we need, and be open to more abundance, things come in a lot faster that way instead of looking at it from a place of lack. So keep that in mind, Sagittarius, when you are going through this Libra cycle. It is going to be a wonderful time to go out and be with friends, especially with Halloween coming. Everybody's getting ready to pick out costumes and going shopping. So this is a really good time to be social, but make sure you're also keeping some time for yourself. Capricorn, the sun is going to be going through your 10th house of fame and your career and status. And so with the sun going through your 10th house, it's going to be lighting up what you're doing, how people view you at work, how your colleagues view you in your profession. So you're going to want to be seeing balance there. So are you putting too much of yourself into your career and not enough of yourself into your home? When we are talking about balance, we're also talking about the accesses of each house. So when we talk about the 10th house, the 4th house is what's lacking. So when you throw yourself into your career, what are you leaving behind? It's definitely the time to kind of take the time and look at how much time you're spending versus how much you're receiving. Aquarius, we have the sun going through your 9th house of higher education, spirituality, the law, as well as foreign travel and foreign language. This has not been a good year for travel for people, and that's an understatement. So when we talk about having wanderlust, and of course, Aquarius, you are one of the wanderlust signs. This has been a very hard year for you. It has been for all of us, but especially Aquarius, because Aquarius loves to adventure. And I'm sure at this point they have gotten the adventure bug. To find balance in spirituality, in foreign travel, in philosophy, if we are immersing ourselves in one thing and only seeing one side, we really need to pick our head up out of the water and look around, because there are so many different ways of thinking that we can integrate into our higher self in this house that we are probably not taking into account. So just make sure that if you are in your all or nothing mode, Aquarius, that you really balance that out with looking at different ways to approach. And finally, Pisces, we have the sun rolling through your 8th house of sex, death, taxes, inheritances, other people's money, and windfalls. This is a very auspicious time for you to receive windfalls, and it's also a very auspicious time for you to really hone in your divination skills. If you've always wanted to learn tarot, this is a wonderful time to pick up a tarot deck and start playing around with it, as well as a pendulum or any kind of divination. If you're into candles and want to learn more about candle magic, this is a wonderful time to do that, especially if you're trying to develop your intuition. Meditation through developing your intuition is key right now for you, Pisces. When we're talking about balance, one of the things that the 8th house represents is credit. And so are you spending more money than you're bringing in? Is your debt more than your income? And looking at those things and making sure that you are in balance with what's coming in and what's going out is going to internally make you not worry about those things. If you don't have a plan, if you have credit card debt and you don't have a plan, this is a wonderful time to get things in order, balance that checkbook, and also, get a little love. The 8th house is about sex and really great sex. So this is definitely a time for you, Pisces, to get your groove on as well. Also one of the astrological happenings this week, which I'm very excited about. It will happen next Tuesday. And I'm so excited about it that I wanted to talk about it this Tuesday. Next Tuesday, we're going to be having Saturn turning direct finally. It's been retrograde since May 11th, and it will be turning direct on September 29th. Saturn direct will be a momentous occasion because when Saturn is retrograde, which it has been, it slows things down. It's almost as if we can't get things accomplished. Saturn is father time. It's the planet of restriction. It's the planet of karma. It's the daddy of the zodiac, so to speak. It gives us those hard rules that help us grow. And it's really about boundaries. And so when we have a Saturn retrograde, we're talking about setting boundaries, re-looking at the boundaries that we did set, re-looking at our ability to focus and get things accomplished, looking at our stability, looking at our resources, looking at our status. Saturn is ruled by Capricorn, which is a cardinal sign and an earth sign. And it's all about security and building security, legacy, all of those things. And so when we have Saturn retrograde, we are revisiting all of those areas where we feel uncomfortable. Are you not feeling secure? Why? Why are you not feeling secure? Why do you feel like you don't have any boundaries? And how can you set new boundaries that will be helpful for you to feel more secure in yourself? As Saturn starts to move forward on the 29th, we will start to feel the wobbles. It moved backwards 5 degrees, so we'll have a little time for it to move forward. But we'll be able to go back over those ideas that we had since May about how we want to reinstate our boundaries, our security, our legacy, our careers, where we want to be driven. Capricorn's a very driven sign, and Saturn is a very driven planet. So, as long as we're in our authentic self, Saturn is so much about authenticity. If you found that you had a lot of resistance during Saturn retrograde, and it was because perhaps you were catering to other people and really not being in your authenticity, whether it's in your business, at work, whatever it may be, you definitely were hitting resistance because the universe is speaking for you to be in your authentic self and not to cater to other people, because really in the end it's all about your ability to create something from love and not from fear. when we create things, from fear, the stability of the structure does not last the test of time. And Saturn is all about lasting the test of time. Now, for Aries, you're going to have Saturn go direct in your 10th house. You're definitely going to be seeing some movement in your career. You may have changed your career. I mean, with COVID, chances are pretty good. Maybe you had to come to Jesus moment and you just completely went and decided to do that crazy thing that you've always wanted to do because now's the time. If that was your authentic purpose, you'll definitely be seeing results moving forward on September 29th, so go you. Taurus, we'll be seeing Saturn going direct in your 9th house. So this is legal stuff. This is foreign travel, spirituality. If you have been feeling stuck and kind of felt like you haven't had much of a connection, this is going to be a good time for you to be moving forward. You probably have gone back over something that you've been practicing. I have a great example. I hate to use it, but I'm going to. Kundalini yoga. I was doing Kundalini for about 3 or 4 years, and it's a wonderful tool. I absolutely love it. And there was a huge controversy that happened in March of this year in regard to the man that brought it from the East. And it really shook a lot of people at their core, at their foundation, their spiritual foundation, because of what came to light, out of this particular book, and also controversies that had been buried throughout the last 30 years. And so the beautiful thing that came out of this is that, we were able to go deep inside to realize that it's not about the guru, it's about the practice. And also deciphering where our accountability is on, really looking at what we're doing and also where it comes from. This practice works. It comes from a very ancient scripture. It comes from one of the traditions is the Sikh tradition. I fully support it. I do not support the teachings of Yogi Bhajan. But with that being said, when you have Saturn going direct in your 9th house, Taurus, you are definitely looking at your foundations in the area of justice, and we're looking at the foundations in your area of spirituality and of philosophy. So, maybe during this whole political season, over this last 5 months, you've had an enlightenment perhaps on a different way of thinking that before you had your blinders on and were unable to see other sides of the story, which I think is a wonderful thing. Gemini, you are going to be having Saturn going direct in your 8th house. So if you have been trying to take care of your debt, if you have been trying to get a loan, all of those things moving forward during the retrograde was a time to kind of patch up all the holes. And now moving forward, if you've done your due diligence, you should be able to receive credit. You should be able to receive a loan. If you've been working on yourself so you can have emotional intimacy with moving forward, you will experience deep intimacy, long-lasting intimacy. Even though Saturn is the planet of restriction, it brings lots and lots of gifts. It brings the ability to create bonds that last over the course of time. So, when we are actually doing something in our authentic self, even though it takes a lot longer and it seems like it's forever, we are building something that's so strong that nothing can ever take it down. So go you, Gemini, because we all know emotional intimacy for Gemini is kind of hard. And that's my main accent. Moving on to Cancer. So Cancer, we have Saturn located in your 7th house. This is your house of relationships. And one of the cool things about Cancer and the 7th house is that Capricorn rules their 7th house. So relationships for them are very serious. If you are a Cancer rising, you know this to be fact. So when we talk about Saturn being in its home sign of Capricorn, which it is for all of these houses, it's in a much gentler way. It's kind of at home. So with relationships, we've had Saturn here for the last 2.5 years. It's getting ready to move into Aquarius on December 17th. And while it has its last day of movement in Capricorn, it is bringing you all of the gifts of your labor. You definitely have been working, Cancer, over the past 2.5 years on your relationship, who you are in your relationship, who you want to have in your relationships, and what they actually mean to you, what your role is in your relationships, and what you are attracted to, and who you are and how you attract have completely changed over the last 2 years. So congratulations to you. Know that during this forward motion of Saturn, that you are definitely going to really start to have things fall into place. And that's a pretty special thing because you've definitely put in the work. Leo, you are going to be experiencing Saturn going direct in your 6th house of health, wellness, routines, schedules, service to others, small animals. So, it's important for you to make sure that you are paying attention to your health. Probably during this reprieve, you decided to get some exercise or maybe even map out how you are going to get healthy. This last hoorah through Capricorn is the tipping point. When Saturn leaves a sign, it leaves a gift for all your hard work. And so you will find, Leo, if you have been working on your health and well-being and not burning your candle at both ends, and setting routines that are easy to execute, you're going to see a lot of progress in your mental health and in your physical health, as well as going to the dentist, which is super important whenever we have Saturn going through our 6th house. Make sure you go to the dentist, Leo. Virgo, we have the Sun moving through your 5th house of Saturn going direct in your 5th house of creativity, small children. This is our creation house. This is new love. So if you have been trying to, if you're an artist and you've had writer's block, maybe perhaps over the last 5 months you've pulled out your copy of The Artist's Way. It's almost as if moving forward, instead of trying to figure out what other people would like for you, so instead of acting, singing a song that someone else would want to hear, sing what comes from your heart, if that makes any sense. It's the same thing with creating. When artists go to create, channeling in how their creativity comes out of them rather than painting what they think other people want them to paint. For instance, I had a client who was painting lighthouses, and she doesn't like painting lighthouses. But that's what people wanted. And so during this Saturn retrograde, really got honest with herself. And even though it was scary because the income was coming from painting the lighthouses, she decided to be creative and paint what she wanted to paint. And lo and behold, is becoming more successful doing what she really wants to do rather than what she thinks other people want. Interesting. So, with being said, Virgo, please make sure that your creative energy is coming from a place of authenticity. And know that whatever you do create is going to be a body of work. So, paintings don't come fairly quickly during this transit, but the ones that do come are labors of love. It's like giving birth. Libra, we have Saturn going directing your 4th house of home. Family, chances are very good that you have had a tough time either with trying to find a home to live in, or maybe the energy in your home, the people that you're living with. When we have Saturn there, it's very restrictive. So for people who don't own a home, have roommates, maybe your room is small. The list is endless how it could possibly be restrictive in your living situation. It could also be in communication with your children, because this is your home. This is the 4th house, is the house of home and family. It's also the house of the mother. So you could be going through some issues with the maternal side of your family. Maybe even perhaps your mother, maybe she's transitioning into the next stage of her life, or just having some difficult resistance. But when we go through the retrograde cycle in this area, we really are reflecting on how to communicate and what is the right way forward. Instead of trying to do things quickly, we want to do things in the right way. So as we go forward with Saturn moving direct, we'll be able to see movement in those areas in a way that you will feel good about what you're doing, and good and in the knowledge of knowing that bigger and wonderful things are coming, if that makes any sense. Scorpio, you have Saturn going direct in your third house of communication. You probably have had a hard time expressing yourself and doing it in a way that is beneficial to getting your point across. People definitely people have been misunderstanding you left and right, and that's totally fine. Your words have weight with Saturn here. Also, anything you post on the internet, anything that you write is definitely taken as gospel, and I think you've learned that. And so if you're a writer, if you're a blogger, if you're a podcaster, and you have Saturn in the third house, whipping something together and putting it out there for the world to hear is not what is on or has been on the agenda for the last 2.5 years. And I think during this last retrograde, there's definitely been some reflection about how you are expressing yourself to others and what the messages that you want to convey. So when Saturn moves forward, you are going to see some amazing results in that area. Sagittarius, this Saturn is going to be going direct in your second house of earned income and self-worth. Chances are good that money has been an issue lately, or perhaps not so much an issue, but just the influx of income has not been coming in the way that you feel comfortable. And that can be attributed to why you're doing what you're doing. And during this retrograde period, really reflecting on what money is, how it's received, and what you actually want to emit for energy to receive it. And what I mean by that is doing something that's meaningful versus doing something for $1,000 an hour that is just sheer boredom. That's a really bad example, because $1,000 an hour is probably, people would just do anything. I hope not. But, really doing something that is in touch with your authentic self, and also knowing your worth. When there's a Saturn transit during the second house, there's a really hard time a lot of times with the employer if you don't own your own business, meaning that more is expected of you for less money. I know that we're in a time of the pandemic, and people are having a really hard time hiring now. So, that chances are that is maybe not what you're experiencing. But I remember from an old position that I had to do everything, and I wasn't respected for it, and I definitely was not paid for what I was doing. So this retrograde is going to help you take a deep look at your own worth. If you don't see your worth, no one else will. Capricorn, Saturn going forward in your first house. What do you know? So with the first house in the retrograde, it's how you present yourself to others. So Capricorn has a tendency to come off as being stoic and not having much feelings, and being the voice of reason. But really inside, there are feelings inside our Capricorns out there. And so when Saturn is going retrograde, even though it's its home planet, Saturn really is looking at its role in its relationships and how it is being perceived and who Capricorn really wants to be. Capricorn is not going to return to these houses for another 30 years. So know that all of this work that we are doing collectively, we are doing together. And every time Saturn moves into a sign, we spend another 2.5 years working collectively on the house that is located. Aquarius, we have Saturn going direct in your 12th house. This restricts Saturn in the 12th house can oftentimes make you feel a little depressed. It can give you this sort of feeling of being closed off from the universe, really questioning deeply who you are, your attachment to the universe, your role in this lifetime, is a lot of existential thought in having Saturn in your 12th house. With it going retrograde, it gave you a little bit of a reprieve, but also to understand that what our time here really means, and that it means something. This is a really deep transit for you, Aquarius. And so for you to be experiencing this, know that when Saturn moves into your first house, that seriousness, or perhaps maybe adding more joie de vivre to your life, will emote itself when this moves into the first house. You're going to have, it brings about purpose. It brings about creating foundations. And so this is going to be a big couple of years for you, Aquarius. And Pisces, finally, we have Saturn going through your 11th house of hopes, dreams, friendships, social media, and manifestation. So this has really been a lesson for you in regard to what you want to create in your life and why you need these things, what it is you truly need, and kind of peeling that onion down to see what it is that you truly, the gifts that you truly are going to receive versus the gifts that you want to receive. That's really what it looks like. Also, friendships, close scrutiny on friendships, whether there's balance in between reciprocity, giving and receiving, giving without the expectation of receiving, the energy around that. You may have had friendships sort of disappear. That's completely normal during this cycle. You're always at the right place at the right time, Pisces, so never feel like you have lost something. If we all change in certain ways, and people show up, and some people stay for long periods of time. So know that whenever we're in flux, the people that are true always come back to you. With that being said, we're going to cut to commercial, and then I will take a caller.
You are listening to Heart Over Ego Radio, a network of shows offering healing and guidance for your beautiful journey. Tune in on Mondays for the Alchemy Sisters, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 Eastern. Tuesdays, tune in and tune up. Body Awareness and Self-Care, 11 Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. Wednesdays, One for All is Love, 1:30 Pacific, 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Thursdays, Unbound with Cynthia Martin, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 Eastern. Fridays, The Witching Hour with Greenwich Village and the Alchemy Sisters, 11 Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. And on Fridays, Rain Radio, 10 Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Saturdays, Creating Heaven on Earth, 11 Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. And Sundays, Everyday Psychic Radio at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. This is the Heart Over Ego Radio Network.
Welcome back. This is Jenifer, and I just want to give you a couple of websites where you can find me if you'd like an astrological reading. I can be found at www.thankgoddess.org, as well as www.optimisticwellness.com, and mystic is spelt with a Y. If you'd like to email the podcast, if you'd like a question answered live on air, the email address is starmedicinepodcast@outlook.com. And also, I just wanted the listeners to be aware that there is an intuitive development retreat that myself and Denise Carell are putting on. Denise is the co-host of Enlightened Empaths podcast, and her and I have teamed up to provide a weekend of intuitive development. It's going to be over October 3rd and 4th. We will be going over manifesting, discovering your clair, techniques and practice for intuitive development, understanding and overcoming psychic blocks, as well as introduction to divination and much more. The cost of tuition is $133. If you would like to check out that retreat, any of my readings, or any of my classes, please feel free to discover my website again at www.thankgoddess.org. So I see we have a caller here, so I'm going to go ahead and... Hi, caller. Hi, caller.
Hi.
Who am I speaking with?
Patricia.
Hi, Patricia. This is Jenifer from Star Medicine Podcast. How can I help you this evening?
Hi, Jenifer. Thank you for taking my call. Anything? Can I ask a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Anything that Spirit has for me, please? Anything you pick up from? Yeah, messages.
Let me get deep down into my... I feel like, is there a citrine stone at your house? Do you have stones at your house?
Got it.
Yeah, there's something very important about that citrine stone. Did you feel like you were guided to buy it?
I actually bought 5 stones. Yes, I felt like I was guided to buy them. I'll tell you what I bought. I haven't quite used them yet. Because I was trying to understand how to use them, but I ended up purchasing the amnesty and the citrus, and let's see, what else did I get? The agate. And agate, thank you. I'm learning. Agate and let's see, black tourmaline.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Those are beautiful stones. Black tourmaline is one of my favorite. I actually use it in my car for safe travel, but it's also wonderful for helping with clearing your energy and protecting your energy. What I'm being guided to tell you, when I closed my eyes, I saw the color yellow, like an orangey yellow. I don't know what color the citrine is that you bought, but I do know that you need to put it on your solar plexus. Are you familiar with your chakras?
I'm learning.
Yes, that's wonderful. Your solar plexus is your third chakra. So the root chakra is your first chakra, and your second chakra just below your belly button is your sacral chakra. And right underneath your rib cage, between your belly button and your rib cage, is your solar plexus. And this is where your fire is. Have you felt like you haven't had a lot of energy? Have you felt like you haven't been able to accomplish things and you've been kind of looking for a push? So that's what this is about. So Spirit is coming in and telling you that the stones that you purchased, you're going to use as medicine on your body, for you to meditate with. With the citrine, it does several different things, but it resonates with the solar plexus in a way that you can learn how to take, instead of keeping all the fire inside and having your mind sort of spin, right? Being stuck in constant thought. This is going to allow you to redirect your energy outward, so you'll have more energy to move. Does that make sense to you?
It does. Yes.
Excellent. Now, if you know your birth information, I'm an astrologer. I'm happy to look at your chart for you.
Yes. February.
Oh, let me go ahead and write this down. And let's see, what was your name again? Patricia.
Yes.
And February 19th, you said?
February the 6th, 1973.
February the 6th, 1973?
Yes,
Okay, 7:30 p.m. And where were you born?
Birmingham, Alabama.
All right. So you have a Virgo rising. So let's take a peek at your chart really quick. Thank you for letting me do this, Patricia.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. So let's take a look at your chart. Have you ever had your chart read? Whoa.
I have.
You've
Yes.
got some chart. It's beautiful. So you have a Virgo rising. You also have an Aries moon as well as an Aquarius sun. Your chart is gorgeous. You have a T-square between Pluto, the moon, and Mars in your fourth house. So this is a lot of lessons around relationships and your home life. Is that correct?
Mhm.
Yeah. You have Pluto in the first house, which I always enjoy seeing because that means that you have a lot of intensity. As much as you want to be a wallflower, it's impossible. People notice you, and you make an impact whether you want to or not. Pluto is the planet of transformation and transmutation, and you have Pluto opposing your moon in the seventh house, which means that you're very passionate. And when it comes out, you've probably had to work on this over the years because maybe you've had some tantrums. But once it comes out, it's hard to kind of collect that energy and bring it back. You can't. Everything changes once you have an emotional reaction. Would you say that's correct?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. And you have Uranus in the second house, which I love seeing that there in Libra. Uranus in the second house really has to do with how you earn your income. You are able to do anything. And whether you have to just, you're one of those people that, if something happens, it doesn't matter because you can just wear another hat and do something else. Does that resonate with you?
That does, yes. Quite often.
Yeah, you're like the jack of all trades, or I should say the Jill of all trades, right?
Yes.
We have Neptune located in the third house, which means that you're probably a very dreamy writer. Do you channel things? Do you come up with poetry when you're in your car that just kind of comes out of nowhere?
Now I'm a very dreamy person. I could get into. I could go places in my head.
Yes, you can. But you haven't gone to many places in real life because you haven't done a lot of foreign travel at all. You have Saturn located in the ninth house, which means that so it's been restricted. I'm not sure why. I don't know whether you don't have the desire to or because you feel a lot of anxiety around traveling, but you definitely daydream of going.
Yes.
And with Mars located in the fourth house, Mars would be indicative of, did you have a very busy household when you were a child? Was there, yes. was your mother, was she kind of spicy, I guess is the word I'm looking for? Did she have a temper?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it was
I can see that.
So, yeah, you did what you were told, or else.
if you heard your middle name, you knew what was coming next, right? Yeah.
Right.
So moving on to your fifth house, you have Jupiter in the fifth house, and you have Venus in the fifth house. Now, when I see Jupiter there, and I see Jupiter in Capricorn, this means that you are very much the mom. Does that make sense? Do you have children? Yeah. How many do you have?
I do. I have three. You have three.
You're an amazing mother.
They are all grown. The youngest, who just looked toward his room, he's just getting here. He's 22. But I recently had to get my two grandbabies, 3 and 6, because my daughter lost custody of them in May, and so it's temporary. until she get herself together. So I am redoing this over again.
Yeah, and I think you're going to be doing this for a little bit because you have Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn in your 5th house right now. So there's definitely going to be some transition with children. You might have them for a little bit, but you may also have her for a little bit too. You know what I mean?
When you say
your daughter and your daughter and her children. What's that?
She doesn't live with me. She has her own place. They had to come live with me, but she's just 10 minutes away, so she's around almost every day.
Yeah. Well, it's wonderful that you can be there for your family like that. I have to tell you, looking at this with the sun in your 6th house, are you a nurse?
Wow, you picked up. I was in nursing school before all this happened, and I had to come out. Wow, you picked that
you're gonna go back to nursing school. You're a born healer. So when you have the sun located in your natal sun located in the 6th house, you have natural healing abilities. It comes through I think it comes through the lineage of your maternal side. Are there other nurses in your family?
There are other health professions, not necessarily nurses, but occupational therapists.
Yes. And have you been thinking about maybe taking Reiki, doing a Reiki class?
I've been interested in it. Well, I guess I haven't.
Well, I think you should rabbit hole on. I think you should rabbit hole on Reiki 1, and because that's something that you can do from home. But I think it will open up a whole other level of what you're doing, especially with energy. You're very tuned into the energy around you. That's why you were guided to buy those crystals today. You have the moon in the 7th house. You are very emotionally attached to your relationships. The moon is in Aries, which makes you a little impulsive, so you definitely do not like to – you don't have a lot of patience with relationships. You like things to move a little bit fast, you know what I mean? And Chiron in the 8th house, which is the wounded healer, is located in your 8th house, your natal placement, and that is going to be old. You're getting ready to have your Chiron return, which is old wounds around sex, sexual expression, and intimacy, fear of intimacy, and also fear of lack of security, not having enough, and needing others. Does that resonate with you?
Definitely, like a physical relationship. I was in this long-term relationship 2.5 years ago. 6 months before we were about to get married, I caught him with someone else and just left the relationship that day and never went back to him again. So I am welcoming in a new love. So I'm ready.
Yeah.
Where is he?
Well, you have Neptune going through. Neptune currently, the transit is going through your 7th house. And Neptune is in retrograde, is taking those rose-colored glasses off and seeing people for who they really are. Your chart looks amazing. The show's going to end in a minute, so I'll just leave you with this. We are going to be having the Sagittarius Gemini eclipses. On November 30th will be the eclipse in Sagittarius, and then also in Gemini will be in December. So you're going to see some movement in your home and family and in your career. So I think you going back to school is going to be what's going to be on the docket. But I am going to, because we're going to end. It was lovely speaking with you, Patricia. And please feel free to email or call again, okay?
Yes, thank you so much. God bless you.
You're welcome.
You.
I love you too.
Oh my God, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I will.
Happy Equinox. All right. Well, that concludes our 3rd episode of Star Medicine Podcast. If you would like to reach out and have a question answered, please email me at starmedicinepodcast@outlook.com or find me at thankgoddess.org. Thank you so much for joining me, and until next time, Sending you so much love.